Welcome to Daily Celebrity Data. They once shook the world with iron fists and indomitable wills. Now time is their final opponent. The boxing legends still live on, marked by glory and pain. But who among them will still be strong in 2025? And what untold stories lie behind their glory? Join us as we explore. You'll be surprised. Barbara Buttrick, a true pioneer. Barbara Buttrick was born on December 3, 1929, in England. Known as the Mighty Atom, she became the first female world boxing champion and a trailblazer for women in a male-dominated sport. Now 95 and living in Florida, Barbara remains a symbol of courage, grace, and history, the heartbeat of women's boxing. George Foreman, the man who never hit the canvas. George Foreman, born September 12, 1937, stood toe-to-toe with Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman. Despite facing the hardest punches in history, he was never knocked down. Now 88, he lives quietly in Canada, admired for his strength in and out of the ring. Evander Holyfield, the real deal himself. Evander Holyfield rose from humble beginnings to become the only four-time heavyweight champion in history. Born October 19, 1962, he embodied perseverance, faith, and heart. Still active in sports at 63, he remains a living symbol of discipline and resilience. Roberto Duran, known as Manos de Piedra, the hands of stone, Roberto Duran's punches built legends. Born June 16, 1951, in Panama, he conquered 4 weight divisions and became one of the most feared fighters in history. Today, at 74, he remains in good health, a national treasure of Panama, still smiling like a champion. Larry Holmes, the Eastern assassin, struck with precision and pride. Born November 3, 1949, Larry Holmes held the WBC and IBF heavyweight titles and famously defeated Muhammad Ali. Now 75, he continues to attend boxing events, respected as one of the sport's sharpest tacticians. Bernard Hopkins, discipline defined Bernard Hopkins. Born January 15, 1965, he became the oldest world champion in boxing history, at age 49. From hardship to glory, his story embodies redemption through hard work. Now 60, Hopkins remains fit, wise, and influential as a mentor and promoter. Ray "Boom Boom" Mancini. Few fighters carried more heart than Ray Mancini. Born March 4, 1961, he captured the WBA lightweight title in the 1980s and became a symbol of courage and compassion. Now 64, Ray remains active as a commentator, sharing his love for the sport that defined his life. James "Bonecrusher" Smith, a true pioneer in education and boxing. James "Bonecrusher" Smith made history as the first heavyweight champion with a college degree. Born April 3, 1953, he won the WBA title in 1986. Now 72, he runs programs teaching discipline and life skills through boxing. Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer of British boxing. Nigel Benn's name still commands respect. Born January 22, 1964, he became WBC middleweight champion and one of the UK's most beloved fighters. Now living peacefully in Australia, Ben continues to motivate others through faith, fitness, and family. Carlos Palomino, once a champion, always a champion. Born August 10, 1949, Carlos Palomino reigned as WBC welterweight champion in the 1970s, a proud Mexican-American icon who balanced boxing, acting, and activism. Today, at 76, he's fit and active in community causes, still fighting. Not in the ring, but for equality and representation. Randall Tex Cobb, toughness had a face, and it was Randall Tex Cobb. Born May 7, 1950, he battled Larry Holmes for the world title, later turning to acting in Raising Arizona and The Golden Child. Now 75, he lives a quiet, private life, a man who's seen the highs of fame and found peace in silence. Cornelius Boza Edwards. In the early 1980s, Cornelius Boza Edwards brought a thrill to boxing few could match. Born May 27, 1956, the Ugandan-born fighter has captured the WBC super featherweight title with speed and ferocity. At 69, he remains healthy and dedicated as a trainer, guiding others with the same fire that once fueled his glory. Bruno Arcari, Italy's pride of the 1970s, Bruno Arcari won the WBC light welterweight title and defended it with unmatched precision. Born January 1, 1942, he left the ring with 70 victories, one of the best records in history. At 83, Arcari enjoys quiet days in Italy, a living monument to technical mastery. José Legras, a Spanish-Cuban fighter of heart and artistry, José Legras twice claimed the WBC featherweight title. Born March 19, 1943, his flair and speed made him a star in both Cuba and Spain. Now 82, he lives peacefully in Spain, a proud reminder of an era when grace met grit. Masahiko Fighting Harada. Few names carry more honor in Japan than Masahiko Harada's. Born April 5, 1943, he became a two-division world champion, defeating legends and uniting a nation with his courage. Now 82, he remains a respected figure at public events, still embodying the fighting spirit of Japan. Koichi Wajima. Known for his relentless comebacks, Koichi Wajima captured the WBA and WBC light middleweight titles in the 1970s. Born April 23, 1943, he redefined Japanese boxing with grit and style. Now 82, Wajima often attends Hall of Fame ceremonies, celebrated as a legend who refused to quit. Ismael Laguna, El Tigre Colonense from Panama. Ismael Laguna was born June 28, 1943. A master of footwork and rhythm, he held world titles in the lightweight division and entered the Hall of Fame. At 81, he enjoys life in Panama, his name still echoing through Latin American boxing history. René Barrientos, born July 25, 1943. René Barrientos put the Philippines on the boxing map as WBC featherweight champion. Revered for his sportsmanship and humility, he inspired Southeast Asia's next generation of fighters. Now 81, he lives quietly in the Philippines, remembered as both champion and gentleman. Steve Ward. Guinness calls him the world's oldest active professional boxer. Steve Ward, born August 12, 1956, fought well into his 60s, embodying endurance and love for the sport. Still training at 69, he remains proof that age can't stop a fighter's heart. They have overcome fierce battles, overcome the limits of plot and fate. Legends are not only symbols of strength, but also proof of the immortal spirit of man. Even if time erases everything, their halo will never fade. If you love these great warriors, please like, share, and join us in preserving the poison of immortal boxing.